Hi, this is Matthew with another Rolling Stones album review. We go to 1981, the year I was born, with Tattoo You. This came out in August, and I wasn't born until November, so it's a little older than I am month-wise. But yeah, this album basically was a lot of kind of outtakes and just unused tracks from albums as far back as Goat's Head Soup. So that they reworked and messed with. A lot of them were really unfinished. Some were just instrumental things. Some were little fragments, which they then worked up. I guess all the band, I know Mick Jagger and Keith Richards weren't always getting along, so there was some issue there. And just they wanted to do a tour and everything, but they didn't want to have album time, I guess. But the guy that was helping produce and mix things, mix it, executive produce it, was, hey, you've got all this great stuff, running around. Why don't you just go through? We'll use some of that. And so he was able to go and poke through. Go, hey, yeah, there's all this great stuff we got. We should just use this. So they worked all those different things up. 11 tracks instead of 10, so a little bit extra on it. Pretty cool album. Interesting. Sounds going on and some weird drumming, some weird drum sounds from Charlie Watts' drums. I'm not sure who put mics where, but there's some very interesting sounds on, I forget what track it was. It's like he was just banging on like a can or something, metal in it. It's those weird, that top part of the snare drum that could just sound really weird depending on how you make it. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, you could ask some similar sounds from the other, but yeah, pretty cool, interesting album anyway. The last really big, I think, charting album they have ever had since. There have been other albums, but it's kind of the last really big hits off of something album. One huge one, and two other ones I've never heard until this album, but there's a huge huge one that I think probably we'll figure out, but I'll go through the tracks anyway. But if you know kind of that period, you'll know what song I'm talking about. The one that's everywhere. We'll go to Wikipedia, and there's also a couple of other. There's also a compilation I'll talk about in a live album, but we'll do this one first, the actual album. There's one compilation I'll mention. I mentioned a live. There were some issues of this album. I think we'll have a listing of, hopefully. There were several other tracks that didn't use, which got put on as a bonus disc, and then there's a whole Live from Wembley Stadium from '82 that gets put in here. It's kind of similar to the other live album from the also for '82. This is 81 album, 82 touring, of course, but it's a humongous Wembley Stadium 25-track thing. It's immense from Wembley, where they play all the big soccer competitions. I don't remember who uses it. They lots of things. A lot of concerts get held there. They use it for the England national team. The big League Cups and stuff. The big finals get put in there. The semifinals and finals get put in there. There's a lot of things get used for Wembley. Probably other events I'm not thinking of. There in London. A lot of things have been in that stadium. I think there's been 2 Wembleys, but this is probably the original, I think. I don't know when the new one got built, but there are a couple of Wembley stadiums, and this is the newest second version. But our tracks are... we have Start Me Up. Yes, that song leads it off, which is such a good song. That's great. I love it every time I hear it. And then Hang Fire, which I guess was also a single. I've never heard that until this. And Slave follows it. Little T&A, that's a Keith Richards vocal, for anyone who cares. Black Limousine, and then we have Neighbors, which is kind of interesting tune. I think that was the other hit. Side 2, though, Worried About You. That's got another one of the other guitarists that they were trying to figure out who was going to replace Mick Taylor. He's on that one. I forget his name right now. Followed by Tops. Heaven, that is a weird sounding track. Very kind of trippy, moody kind of. It's interesting. Lots of interesting vocal things and pan vocals and just kind of interesting sounds. It's a nice stereo effect, though. Make sure you put some headphones on for that one. There's some neat stuff there. Just No Use in Crying, and then Waiting on a Friend, which is kind of ballady kind of track. Oh, well, on newer albums, Slave is 6 minutes and 34 seconds. And originally that was, let me go see what the running, the original was 4:55, so it's a longer cut. Interesting. I don't know how long, I really wish, I miss Apple Music early in its life. They would give the length of the track. And they don't do that now, which is really unfortunate, because I could have seen that and noticed. Oh yeah, it was longer, but I don't see those. I haven't not seen those for years. I miss that. Our deluxe edition, which had a second disc, they called it Lost and Found Rarities. This is up for the Super Deluxe. There's an earlier album too that has these same tracks on it, an little bit earlier version than this one. But we have some interesting tunes here. We have Living in the Heart of Love, and then Fiji Jim, that's what it's called. Troubles A Comin', followed by Shame, Shame, Shame. Drift Away, yeah, the Dobie Gray cover. I'm not aware of any new recorded guitars or vocals from anybody later. I think these might be the original cuts. I have not seen any. The Wikipedia article does not mention that kind of thing, but I do know what goes on, so there may be some newly recorded things, but I didn't listen to all these in huge detail. I was just the main album was what I was here for. I might go back at some point and hear some of these because they're kind of cool. Of course, that was Bencher Williams wrote that, but W. Gray sang it. I don't know. And then we have It's a Lie. And then Come to the Ball. Fast Talking, Slow Walking. and Start Me Up, an early version of that one. And 3 and 4 is the Still Life Wembley Stadium 1982 concert, like all of it. And I think that other album I'm going to show you, I think just a simplified version of this. So this, you might want to try to fork out for the Super Deluxe if you collect physical. If you want to stream it, you also can, because it's there. Much wider selection of stuff. Much longer, because it's 2 discs instead of 1, which Still Life was only 1. But here we go. I'll go through it now, and I'll go through it again on the other. We can see what they changed and what they took out. We have Under My Thumb. It opens with that one. When the Whip Comes Down, from the previous album. Of course. To Spend the Night Together. Shattered. Great song. Neighbors from the current album. And then another current song, Black Limousine. Followed by Just My Imagination Running Away With Me, that Temptations cover they did. And 20 Flight Rock, the Bill Haley song, which Paul McCartney knew, and that's how he got into the Beatles, because he knew all the words and the chords to 20 Flight Rock. So he showed that up to John Lennon, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're in. Yeah, that's that one. And we have Eddie Cochran and Nat Fairchild wrote that one. Going to a Go-Go, which I know the Smokey Robinson and the Miracles did that. I think others have done it too. That's the one I'm familiar with. Oh, Smokey Robinson, Pete Moore, Bobby Rogers, and Marv Toplin wrote that one. We have another cover, Chantilly Lace, the Big Bopper song, which is a J.P. Richardson. I assume maybe that's his actual name. And then we go back to regular songs. Let Me Go, followed by Time Is On My Side. Beast of Burden. Let It Bleed. You can't always get what you want. It just says band introductions. That's all it says. I didn't check that track out. Little TNA, the Keith Richards song. There's another new track there. Tumbling Dice. She's So Cold. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Hang Fire, that's from, of course, the current album. Miss You. It sounded pretty good, actually. Honky Tonk Women. Brown Sugar. Start Me Up. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then Jumpin' Jack Flash. And then I Can't Get No Satisfaction. So yeah, 27 tracks of live. Well, 26, I don't think the band introduction thing is very long, but so that's that one. I think it's condensed on that other album that it's just called Still Life, but we'll double check it because it's very similar. And I forget where it was recorded, but our personnel this time, the Stones, Mick Jagger was playing lead vocals and backing vocals, electric guitar, and percussion, and an electric piano. Keith Richards, and electric guitar, backing vocals, and lead vocals, and bass guitar. Ronnie Wood on electric guitar and backing vocals. Bill Wyman on bass, and synthesizer and percussion. Charlie Watts on drums. Mick Taylor electric guitar, because he was still technically listed. He was not in the band, but his stuff was still used. They still use that track, so. The additional guys from these sessions and some of the other reworking tracks are Nicky Helms on piano and organ, Ian Stewart on piano, Billy Preston on keyboards, Wayne Perkins electric lead guitar. Yeah, that was the one track on 7, yeah, that they had, one of the other, we're looking for new guitarist tracks. Ollie E. Brown on percussion. Pete Townsend on backing vocals from The Who. Yes, they knew The Who as well. I didn't hear him. That's interesting. I'm not sure where he's at. Sonny Rollins on saxophone. Yes, that's Sonny Rollins. The jazz saxophonist Sonny Rollins was on sax. 3, 6, and 11, track-wise, if you want to hear those with him, you can. Jimmy Miller percussion, of course, reused tracks, so he was still credited. Michael Calabello on cowbell and congos, and Guiro and claves. And Guiro is the thing that you hear sometimes in stuff. Yeah, you move it a lot. I forget how you play that thing. I've seen them. We had a metal one in my band in high school. It sounded really cool, actually. I'm not sure what they usually made of, but I think ours was like a metal. It was like a shaker, but you could also move that stick along. But I think we had a regular one too. But there was a lot in the percussion toy box. I was in the pit, so there were lots of fun things to go mess with inside that box. Chris Kimsey, electric piano. He also was the kind of engineer guy. Peter Sage, hand claps. Sugar Blue harmonica. Yep, he shows up again. I thought so. There's harmonica / electric harmonica. Did I just say is an electric harmonica? But whatever. They just say harmonica. I would say electric. Yeah, that's it. Chris Kempsey, associate producer and engineer. Because again, it's still the Glimmer Twins, Mick and Keith. Barry Sage, Alice Vertigoff, Keith Harwood, Glenn Jones, Andy Jones, and Tipani. Yeah. A couple of people doing engineer work from all the other albums that is long, and I don't feel like trying to read that without a real display that I don't have on this computer. Bob Clemonton mixing, Bob Lovick mastering and at Master Disc. Greek Cowboy 1986 remastering at Sterling Sound. Bob Lovick was the 94 version and get remastering for that. Seymour Cousins, Stuart Whitmore were the 2009 and 2021 remastering guys at that studio, which was called Mark Cussin Mastering, I believe. Something like that. So that's the personnel there. Great album. Everything else will start me up, which is so great. So I think the remix doesn't sound quite as clear to me. It's weird sounding. That's with headphones that do surround. I don't know. I always try to go for the original, like as close to the original as I can get, and then I go check out some like the remix if I can. But I just like hearing tape hiss. I'm weird. I don't know. Yeah. So then we go on to a little compilation album. It's still 81 because Still Life is technically 82. So I'll hit it in just a sec. With a thing called Sucking in the 70s. That is what it's called. Is it mostly kind of reworked some like B-sides, some re-edited versions of current, like of some of the singles, a few live tracks, just kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. If we have side one opens up with Shattered. And then Everything is Turning to Gold. That's Shattered's B-side. Hot Stuff is next. From Black and Blue, of course. Time Waits for No One. That's an edited version of that one, and so is Hot Stuff. Fool to Cry is the edited version of that one. Side 2, Manish Boy, the Muddy Waters tune. From the Levy Live album, they edited it down, though, because it is definitely on that. When the Whip Comes Down live from Detroit in 1978. I don't think it's been on anything previously. If I Was a Dancer, Dance PT2 from the Emotional Rescue Sessions, they never released it. They had part 1, but part 2 was not used, but it's on here. So if nothing else, you've got Dancer Part 2, if you were wanting to collect all the different tracks from them, that you could get it on this. I still can, because it streams and everything. You can still get a hold of this one. I've seen them on CD and stuff too. Maybe a vinyl release, possibly, maybe depending where you look. Crazy Mama, from Black and edited version from Black and Blue. And Beast of Burden is an edited version from Some Girls. I did not listen to that because it's not a super long track. I'm not sure how you would edit that down, but I didn't listen to that. And that is that. That's really all that one is. Kind of an interesting one, but definitely a hodgepodge. Not something that a casual person might get, but if you wanted to get every kind of little unused track or something, that would be a thing to grab. And then we jump to Still Life from 82, that live album, as we approach their 83 album Undercover. But you had some touring in Europe and the U.S. and other places, I think, in the meantime. We will go grab that article. There it is. We have the following live tracks. On side 1, we have... we open up with intro with Take the A Train. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's what they went with. These are all in the U.S., I think. Doesn't say from where these were grabbed. Under My Thumb. Oh, it was from East Rutherford, New Jersey. But I don't think it shows me for track 1, does it say? No, it does not. Okay. 3 is from Let's Spend the Night Together, from the Hampton Show. Not sure where that is exactly. Shattered is from Hampton as well. Tony Flight Rock is from, just says Largo. with the date. I'm not giving the dates. I'm just giving the place name. Going to a Go-Go. It's also from Largo. Side 2 has Let Me Go from Largo. Time's on My Side from Hampton. Just My Imagination Running Away with Me is from Hampton as well. Start Me Up is from Chicago. I Can't Get No Satisfaction is from, I think it's saying Tempe. Let me double check that. Yeah, Tempe, Arizona. Yeah, okay. Outro is a Star Spangled Banner for the Hendrix kind of version and traditional. Doesn't say where from. And that literally is the album. Just for giggles, our live personnel were, of course, Mick Jagger on lead vocals and guitar, Keith Richards on guitar and backing vocals, Ronnie Wood on guitar and backing vocals, Bill Wyman on bass guitar, Charlie Watts on drums. Additional guys they had with them, these different stops were Ian Stewart on piano still, so he is still a touring member and slash manager slash founding member slash I play random stuff guy. Not sure. I'm never quite sure where he fits in, but he's basically on everything. So they must have still gotten along with the guy okay. So William McLaken on keyboards again. I forget where else he was used, but he's back. Ernie Watts on saxophone. Does Charlie Watts have a brother? Does anyone know if is he related to Charlie Watts, or is he just a different guy, just having the same last name? And that is it for our personnel. Recorded Robert Cloten and David Hewitt with the Record Plant remote truck, I think, from those that studio. He mixed the singer. I mixed it at Power Station Studios. I forget where that is. The painting is a Japanese painter. I will try to pronounce this person's name. Kaza Hamazaki. I'm sure that's not right. I'm sorry. I don't know Japanese. That's how it's coming across. Bob Ludwig mastered it. Master disc for the from the same studio that he did the other things at, and then also the remastered version. So Masterdisc got used for both of those things. He, of course, is known for a lot of the reissuing and remastering from the 90s at least, and it's other people have taken it on since. But yeah, that's that. Cool little live album, especially if you have if you like live cover versions. There's a few there, but you're better off just grabbing that Super Deluxe if you can find it, and hearing that the disc 3 and 4 in the back, because it's a few more covers that they don't have on here. So, but yeah, it will give you a kind of a snapshot of what it was like. But obviously, still, it must have been the tour name, because that's what the Wembley show is also called. So that must have been their tour name. But you have a slight, kind of a quick little edited version of what they played here in the U.S. And you've got that great Wembley 27-track thing. That's pretty cool. And a stadium as big as Wembley is. Queen have a live album too. A few years after this, there's a live album there I've heard parts of. Knew a guy that had that on disc, on CD at the time. From the same stadium a few years down the road. I think that one is on Disney Plus. There's a Queen Live there, but no Stones on Disney Plus. But yeah, that's that. We will move on to 1983, and then there'll be a couple of more albums, and then it will be very sporadic after this, with a few more after. So, but this is the first, I think, really the last big hit that they had. So yeah, that is that. It's a cool album. Go check it out. You might forget to check out the compilation and the live album. But that will do it for now. Then we will go straight into 83 the next time you have a video from me of this. But I will see you guys then in another video.